Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, we're going to talk about some things you normally don't hear about, not on typical radio or even television. But Roberta Hladek, right? Hladek? It's Hladek. Is that how I pronounce it?
It's actually Hladek, but that's
Hladek.
okay.
Right, yeah. Hladek. Why don't I didn't get that right? No, it's great. Hladek. I'm glad it is. So now I got it. Roberta Hladek, who is a co-founder of Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, big name, or we call it EMC Square. So I'm so glad that you're available to talk to us. You're way out there, and you're in Las Vegas, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
And has it gotten cold there yet?
Well, today it's cooler than normal, so it feels a little chilly. If it gets below 100, we're kind of chilly.
Right.
So today it's only going to be in the low 80s, I believe.
Oh, that's right, because you are hot there normally. Well, we've been hot, but I noticed cool breezes starting to come too. But what I was saying to Roberta before we started the show is, what are we going to do to memorialize Stephen Lewis, who we all know so much, so well, from the radio and from all the good things he's done. And I, of course, am on the AIM program, been on for so many years, and people always wonder where I get my energy. I'm never sick. I said, well, I'll tell you, but you won't believe this, I know, but I'm going to explain it to you. And so I mutter around about the AIM program and why that's so important. But maybe it's time for you, of course, who are co-founder of this and who we've just lost, Stephen, to some other lucky place. What are we going to do to memorialize it? And I was just sharing how we used to memorialize this with planting trees for a lot of our friends, loved ones, and it becomes a farce. But I don't know. Of course, you are in a place where it should grow well. I mean, is there a shortage of water there still?
Yes, we are on water restriction. But
let's do a
we're
cactus.
In the desert,
we can do a cactus.
That's what I was just going to say. Maybe he loved Joshua trees.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we can plant him a Joshua tree.
Okay. That's a good idea. Then we don't have to worry about even watering it.
Yeah, for sure. Because then that way they're, local to the area.
Right. Well,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, let's keep it. Let's see what we can do. So it must be lonely there, though, when you do get a chance. I guess, when you're so used to working together, and all of a sudden you don't have him there on the line as easily. Yeah,
that's for sure. Because he and I talked to him every single day, or saw him every day, pretty much every day for almost 30 years. So yes, it's some days, are harder than others, for sure.
But how many members do you have now? Do you have like a total that that we can figure out how many people are on the AIM program? And we're going to get you to talk a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know the exact number because it fluctuates from day to day because people are coming off the program, renewing the program, coming on for the first time. So it kind of fluctuates. So I'm not really sure. I might say 25,000 maybe. Amazing. I'm not sure.
Amazing, isn't it? And that started, did it all start when he wrote the book? Did you do anything before that?
Well, Stephen was in private practice, and he worked with acupuncture, naturopathy, homeopathy, and he was a chiropractor. So he put all those modalities together, and he also worked with herbal remedies and things. So he was really, really good with herbs, too. And so when I met him back in 1987, that was his private practice. And then as things progressed and he started working more with trying to put things into a computer, his whole goal was, and this is probably not the best business module, but his thing was he didn't want people to have to keep coming back. He felt that he should be able to do something he saw himself as a failure, I guess, if people had to keep coming back for the same thing. So as a chiropractor, you would come in and you would be adjusted, and then, if your neck went out or your back or you had constant issues, you would keep coming back. And to him, that didn't seem correct. He thought you should be able to be adjusted, and that should be it. You should go about your way. But when he realized that, when you're out of adjustment or out of alignment, it meant that there was something else going on. So his whole thing was getting to the bottom of the barrel to find out what it was that was making this happen to you and how he could fix that, or help you fix that, I should say, so that you didn't have to keep coming back. So he used all these different modalities, and then it slowly moved into a more computerized system.
All right. And how did you get involved?
Well, when in 1987 I was in a car accident, and my stepfather was working with this guy and getting herbal remedies, and he used to bring them home in these little baggies, and he'd say, "Can you put these in these little gel caps for me?" And so we would do that, I would come home on the weekends or whatever, because I didn't live that far away, and he'd say, "Can you do this for me?" And so I'd be putting them together for him. And I had, right out of high school, I wanted to go into nursing, so I started, and then I realized that really wasn't what I wanted to do, and I went into marketing with a big firm and stayed with them. So at this time, I was doing that. And so when I got in this car accident, he came to pick me up at the hospital because they had taken me there because they didn't know the extent of my injuries. And he said, "I'm going to call this guy, and you're going to go see him because he can help you better than all this." Because they basically, I had whiplash and other things, and they were basically going to give me painkillers, which was really about anything. And I'm kind of a lightweight when it comes to things like that, so I didn't take any drugs of any sort. So I couldn't do that. So he said, I'm going to take you to this guy. When you go in and see him, just don't say anything. Just let him do his thing, and he'll give you something, and you're going to feel 100% better. So I went, okay. So he took me into Stephen. And at the time, he was starting to use his electronic stuff, this computerized system. So he took my thumb, and he put this thing on my thumb, and it made all these weird noises, and he made up some bottles for me, and he told me what to do and sent me on my way. And I would say probably about a few weeks later, I started feeling a whole lot better, not only from my injuries, which luckily they were all what they call soft tissue injuries, so you were bumped and bruised and achy and whatever. So about a month later, he wanted I was supposed to come back in, and he was going to adjust what he had given me. And it went on for a few months, and I started feeling better and better and better. And not only physically, but mentally. I was realizing and kind of seeing things clearly that I was working for this corporate company and driving in the LA traffic, and that wasn't anything compared to what it is now. And I was kind of in a relationship that was kind of stagnant, and I had gotten married very young. And just all these things, and I started thinking about my life, thinking, what am I doing? I feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel. And so as time went on, I decided to get more involved in what he was doing, and I changed jobs, I got out of my relationship, and I moved all in 1 year. Not saying that this is going to happen to everybody that goes on AIM, because that sounds like a scary thing. But what it was, though, is I was seeing things clearly, and I was seeing where opportunities were coming to me, and I wasn't really looking to change my job or anything. But the opportunity arose, and I started to think about going back to school and learning more about homeopathy, because that's what worked for me. And so I went back to school, and I ended up working with Stephen. And later on, we then became a couple, and I helped him start what we have now, which is the Energetic Matrix Church with the AIM program.
So actually, it was your marketing background that kicked in for you. besides the accident and everything, you knew what to do with something.
Yeah, I think it kind of helped me. I was working with the telephone company at that time, and I think all of that, helped me a lot because they trained me in a lot of aspects. They were a really good school, really. And so, yeah, I think so. I think a lot of my training, my mom wasn't all that thrilled because I'm one of 7 children, so I'm second to the youngest, and she wanted everybody in their little cubby holes so she wouldn't have to worry about them. And she kept saying, but you have a 401k, and you have insurance, and you have this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like,
you
yeah,
wasting
Mom,
your life, right?
Yeah. And that's what I told her. I go, I can't keep doing this. I feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel. I have to do something that fulfills me. And she kind of looked at me and went, okay.
So did you ever get your mom on the AIM program? Did she ever understand it?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Because as soon as I started working with Stephen, she came to work for me.
Ah.
And so she worked in our office with us, and she worked until she retired. So she was with us for, I think, about 7 or 8 years.
How nice.
That she worked with me. Yeah.
Oh.
And then she ended up retiring, and she used to tell Steve all the time, just fix me.
Oh.
She didn't want to know what was going on with her. She didn't care. She just knew if something wasn't working or she didn't feel good, she would tell him, hey, can you check me? But don't tell me what I have. Just give me whatever I need to take or whatever I have to do. She wasn't really into the names of things. Her thing was just give me a bottle and let me keep working. And so she's been on the AIM program ever since. And my mom is now 87, and she doesn't take anything but vitamins, and she swims for an hour every day.
Wow.
She drives all over, and she's very active in her social groups. She lives in Surprise, Arizona. So she lives in a retirement community there, and she's amazing, and she looks fabulous.
Okay, so why don't we tell people who are now chomping at the bit to know about AIM and what is it that works?
Well, I think, from my point of view, we have all these frequencies that are in this computer, and each one of us are made of a frequency pattern. And we know inside us what is right and what's wrong with us, but we may not be able to verbalize it. It's a part of us. And so when we're working with this AIM program and you go on the program, these trays vibrate with all the stuff that we have in there that's being sent to us. And you might say, gosh, all those millions of frequencies being sent to me, isn't that overload? It would be. But because each one of us knows what's right or what's wrong with us, when we go on the program, we match vibrations that we need to heal, and we heal ourselves with those vibrations. The AIM program is a tool to help us to heal ourselves. And as we remove these negative vibrations, diseases, colds, flus, whatever, maybe they're affirmations that we've been talking about, and they're negative affirmations. We need to wipe those out so that we can start seeing our path clearly. We remove those, and as we remove them, we raise what we call our life force. And our life force is our inner strength. And some people call it chi, some people call it prana, whatever it happens to be that you want to call it, but it's your inner strength to overcome everyday adversities. It might be something as simple as one of your, well, not as simple, but maybe one of the kids isn't feeling good today and you've got to go to work for a meeting and you can't stay home with them, so now you've got to find a babysitter. It's stressful. Maybe it's you're on your way to work and you're going to be late and you can't be late again. Or, whatever it happens to be, it might be something really great. Maybe you're getting married and you're nervous and you've got all these things that you've got to deal with. Well, there's frequencies on the AIM program that help us balance that. And so as we balance those frequencies, we become stronger and our life force rises. Also, our consciousness level rises if we choose to be more conscious. All of it is a choice. There are people that are on the AIM program that are raising their life force but have chosen to not be more conscious. They want to stay where they are, and that's their prerogative. But we have these choices that are available to us. when we raise our life force, then we make better choices. We find our path in life. Maybe we change our path. Maybe we just strengthen the path that we're on. Who knows? It's all up to us. And that's really what the AIM program does. And you might say, well, I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with me. Doesn't matter. There's still frequencies on the program that help us out in everyday life. There's also anti-aging frequencies. And we might think anti-aging frequencies, gray hair, wrinkles, can't see as well, maybe we're not walking as well as we used to. Well, that's superficial stuff. But when we talk about anti-aging, we're really talking about our inner strength inside us, our organs. How are our organs running? We want to work, and our bodies work as best we can, because now they say that we're all living longer. So don't we want to live to the best of our ability for those extra years? Absolutely. We want to be able to walk. We want to be able to talk. We want to be able to do everything that we're doing and stay active. So that's what the AIM program really does. It helps us with all of those aspects as well. The physical stuff is just icing on the cake, but it's all that other stuff that we don't really see or feel sometimes that make the changes.
Well, that was a great explanation. That was a big elevator speech, but it was well done, because we've been doing this with Stephen for a long time, and I don't think he ever articulated it as well as you did, actually.
Oh, well, he was so good at all of the more technical or the more the other side of it. They used to call us the heart, the soul, and the brain. And I was always the heart. So I guess I'm giving you the heartfelt part of it. But that's the way I feel and the way I think the AIM programs worked for me. So that's my best way of explaining it.
It's great. And, of course, my husband and I have been on this for many years. And my husband's 92, and he is in just really very, very good shape. Yes, he has a few things, macular degeneration in one of his eyes, but he's just a fighter, and he just moves along. And so I attribute, of course, a lot of us have that kind of attitude, and you have to have the attitude first. Don't think AIM gives you the attitude, do you?
No. Well, I think we all have it within us, but I think it kind of brings it out of us, because I think that as we clear out all this baggage that's been passed down to us and what have you, I think our attitude changes and we start becoming more positive, and we start seeing the more positive in the world and within us. And I think that's our consciousness level rising as well.
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of a tribute to it.
That's well put. I think that's very true. So, sure, once you get started, then it helps you, because when you're in pain or when you don't know one day from the next how you're going to feel, it's very hard to have a positive attitude, isn't it?
It sure is. Absolutely.
And so let's talk about how people can join this. This is really important to me, to help us get a lot more members so that a lot of people can be on the AIM program. So what I would suggest that you do is we want you to, you can email, but you can also call. So let me just give you some of that information. If you want to go on their web, it's energeticmatrix.com, or it's actually AIM. The AIM isn't AIM.com?
AIM program.
Yeah, AIMprogram.com, right?
Exactly.
AIMprogram.com, AIM program.com. But we're really talking about energy. This is you should really understand. And now everything is energy. It's coming out. We've always known this. A lot of us have been into this. But now you're going to have a lot of scientists explaining this, that it's all energy. That's what Stephen used to say. Everything around us is energy, and AIM is not going to heal you. You have to heal yourself. But it's grabbing the energy that Roberta, what Stephen did, they have a lot of this figured out on a computer, and they help how do they know you? I'm sure someone said, how do they know you? Well, you start off by sending a picture of yourself, and it's like a hologram, isn't it, Roberta?
Absolutely.
And then they get that, and they put that into their, we always called it the not the drawers, but the places where all the photographs. The what?
The trays?
Yeah, the trays. That's what I meant. Putting the trays in. And then Stephen, who's now doing this, are you doing this now? You have other people doing this?
Just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
So when someone joins, you see just where their energy is by using the computer. And sometimes you may not have a disease at this moment, but you may be on your way to having a disease. And what they can do is literally get rid of that disease for you. So, I mean, that's pretty miraculous.
Well, actually, what we're doing is each one of us is getting rid of our disease or whatever it is ourselves. All we're doing is giving you the tool, and the tool is the AIM program and all those frequencies in there. It's up to each and every one of us to heal whatever it is that is right or wrong with us. Actually, what's wrong with us. We want to keep what's right with us, right?
Yes. One thing that Stephen told us is that he now felt he has gotten rid of all the hereditary. He used to tell me this. Anything that you had that was hereditary is gone. And so how does that happen?
Well, that's with the AIM program. When we're passed down our physical modalities, like we might say that, don't mean modalities, but the physical issues that we have, we're passed down from generation to generation. And it's kind of like when you get together with your family and you might say, gosh, do you remember, Uncle Tom, he had diabetes, and Aunt Sue, she had, MS or what have you. And we always talk about what other people had or diseases or whatever. It always seems to come down to that when we get together with, at least with my family. We're always talking about what's hereditary. Well, when you're on the AIM program, you remove these hereditary dispositions, and then they can't be passed down to other generations if you were to have children. And a really great example was when we were in private practice, people used to come in before they had children, and they used to tell us they were going to clean up before they had kids. And both the husband and wife would come in and they go through the program. My sister and brother-in-law were a perfect example. They went through the whole program, and when they had my niece, she's now 20, she's going to be 21 this year, my goodness, I can't believe it. She was the first baby born with a life force of 99. And she then, when they had my nephew, he was the first child born at a life force of 100. And my niece would have been 100, but we found a hereditary frequency in her that wasn't in the database, which was passed down from her grandfather, which her dad did not have. It was on her dad's side. And her dad didn't have that frequency to pass on to her, but it was passed on through another generation. So that's kind of how the AIM program works. It cleared out everything my brother-in-law had, and then everything my sister had to pass on to my niece. She didn't have any of those, but the one thing she did have had been passed down from behind.
Okay, so, and there are a lot of people who don't even know who their relatives were, their ancestors.
Absolutely.
So they can't even explain this.
Right.
So that means that they'll just have it removed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without having to know that.
Exactly, because there's a lot of people, I've got a lot of friends that were adopted and don't really know
Right.
who their birth parents were or what their hereditary dispositions are. So when they come on the program, I had one friend that she couldn't wait to get on it just because she didn't know what her hereditary stuff was, and she wanted to get rid of it before it manifested in her. So that's kind of a good way of looking at it, too. She was totally healthy. There was no reason she didn't have any health issues that she was concerned with. Her thing was, I want to get rid of all that hereditary stuff since I don't know anything about my birth parents.
Right? She's just smart. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
she did that. Well, just thinking about what you are doing, what if someone now has cancer or they have a very, difficult, debilitating disease, and they got on the AIM program? Is there hope that they could get that disease, demolished or something?
Well, there's a lot of hope, yes. If one has or been diagnosed with something like that, the AIM program, because everything is energy. So on the program, we can self-heal ourselves of a lot of things. The only thing that is hard on the AIM program is anything that's a physical issue. You wouldn't want to go on the AIM program because you broke your leg.
Right.
It would speed up the healing, yes, but you still need to go to the doctor and have your leg set. With any of these other diagnoses, what is interesting is you can still continue on your treatment, whatever it is, with your physician, and we ask you to continue, not to stop things. But the AIM program is another adjunct, another tool to help you self-heal whatever that is that's going on with you. And we got to remember, too, with all of these things, there's a mental or emotional aspect to it. And when we clear that emotional aspect, it also removes those energies from us. So we have a lot more healing power. And we always want to raise our life force, and that's our main way to clear out any of these kinds of things. So we need that inner strength. And sometimes when we're taking some of these stronger medications, it will deplete our energy. So we want to keep our energy up so we have more energy to fight.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
My guest is Roberta Hladek, and she's the co-founder. Is that the way to say co-founder?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, co-founder, Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness. She's calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you would like more information on this, just go to aimprogram.com. And if you want to call to talk to her personally, call 877-500-3622. 877-500-3622. And if I ever come to Las Vegas, I'm looking you up.
Absolutely. Come visit. I'd love to see you.
I will. Well, thank you. It's just been wonderful talking to you again. So goodbye, Stephen. Hello, Roberta.
Thank you.
Okay. Goodbye.